What is up, guys? My name is Nick and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at every single setting option there is in the game to give you guys better accuracy, make your games look a lot nicer, and sound a lot better as well. We're going to get into literally everything, whether you're on PlayStation, Xbox, PC. We're going to talk about every single setting. So this video might be a little longer than usual, but let's get into it. If you guys could drop a like, I would truly appreciate that. Let's not waste any time because it's going to be a little bit longer. But let's go into, I would say, graphics right away. Maybe after we'll go into controller. Interface is pretty important, and then audio. So we'll start off with graphics. We'll get into this. Now, display and quality, I think these two are mainly for PC, but view here is for if you're on console and stuff. I think there's some stuff in here that might be on console as well. If you guys can let me know if you get the display and quality settings on console. I don't know, because I haven't played MW3 on console this year. I've only played it on PC, but basically, display, it's different for everyone. Whatever monitor you have, it's going to be different. All right, just set it to whatever you can here and it should be all right. Now I have AMD for my graphics card and also an AMD, well, as you can see right there, the RX 6800 XT. That's my graphics card, so most of my settings are going to be based off this graphics card, at least in the display and stuff like that, but we'll get into a little bit more of that afterwards. So the aspect ratio, we're going to set it to automatic. If we were playing on like a ultra wide screen or something, we put it to like a 21:9. If we were playing on like a super wide, whatever you want to call it, a 32:9, but we're just going to set it to automatic. It's going to set it to whatever it is, you know, 16:9, whatever it is. Let's go. Now shaders preloading, you don't have to restart this. If your game runs fine, if there's no issues with it, you don't gotta restart that at all. Display gamma, I got it set to 2.2, and then brightness. I know you guys on console have this. This is probably one of the most important settings in the game. Okay, if you put it all the way up like this and you set it to 100 thinking, oh yeah, I just want the best brightness in the game, that's not how it works, unfortunately, guys. This is going to make your game look washed out. So if you're playing the game and it feels like it's very foggy, it feels like it's very like white and gloomy and stuff, that's because you probably have this set really high. There's a few other settings as well that you guys got to change in order to get rid of that gloominess, but right now in the brightness, you got to set this to where it's actually not visible, and the barely visible is actually barely visible. For me, it's 55. This feels the nicest, this feels the cleanest, so we're going to leave it at that. We're not going to mess around with it. And it's going to do what it does. Now, constrain mouse to game window, I'm not playing with the mouse or anything, but honestly, I wouldn't even have that on. I would leave it off if I was playing with mouse and stuff. And then pretty much stuff here like VSync, the gameplay and stuff. This limits the frame rates, pretty much, I'll read it right here, to match the refresh rate of the monitor. Now, what it's going to do is your screen tearing, if you turn this on, you're not going to have screen tearing, even if you put it like to the lowest amount here, you're not going to have screen tearing or anything, but you will have input lag. So I don't recommend turning this on. I'm going to leave that off because I don't want to deal with input lag. I don't want to deal with anything like that. And then the menus as well, we're just going to leave it off as well. Now, custom frame rate limit, you guys could set this to whatever you want. Now, game, I have it set to 145 because I have a refresh rate of 144. I have a hertz. My monitor is a 144 hertz, so there's no point in putting it higher than that. Like, honestly, I could get 300 frames per second if I want, but I don't do it. There's no point. I mean, I'm just going to be downgrading my graphics for no reason, pretty much, to hit those 300 frames when I don't have to. I'm not going to see it anyways. And then the menu custom frame limit, I used to leave it at 60. I put it back to 120. It doesn't really matter. It's the menu, you know, but we're gonna leave it at 120 for now, and it is what it is. And then the out of focus custom frame, this is like when you're on PC, when you're switching from the game to another application, it's going to drop it down to 5 frames per second. The reason I set it to that is so that this game doesn't take all the resources. I can actually watch videos and stuff while this is still in the background. I don't have to worry about that too much. Menu, render resolution, optimal. Pause game rendering off, focus mode is 0, high dynamic range HDR. Again, you can have it off, you could have it on, you could have it automatic, but it's going to use your operating system settings. If you have it set to automatic and stuff, just leave it off. It doesn't really matter, right? And then the HDR, all this kind of stuff here. If you want it to look a little better, go ahead and do it. I don't do it. Let's get into quality. Now, graphics preset, we're going to set this to custom. We're going to go ahead and change everything ourselves because, yeah, we don't want to have to worry about that. Now, my render resolution, I have this set to 105. It's currently locked. It's currently locked because I have this set here, but you guys could change it. I would recommend playing anywhere. Like, if you're getting very bad frames, lower this right here, okay? It should be unlocked for you guys, especially on console. If you're getting, like, really horrible frame rates, the game's not playing well and stuff like that, drop this down to, like, a 90 or something like that. If you're playing really good, you have no frame rate issues, go ahead and throw this up. It's going to make the game look nicer, but I honestly just leave it right there. It is what it is. And then dynamic resolution, you're going to want to turn this off, all right? Because if you go ahead and you actually change this, it's going to actually use, well, your GPU is going to be used a lot, but it's going to kind of change this here to hit a certain amount of FPS. So if you want to hit, like, let's say 60 FPS or something like that at all times, it's going to change this constantly as you're playing just to maintain that 60 FPS. So if you get into an area where your FPS is dropping, instead of dropping the FPS, it's going to drop the render resolution, making the game look uglier at some points, making it look nicer. Honestly, I just leave it off. I set this, and then you kind of got to figure out if your game's working or not. If you have bad FPS drops, lower this a little bit, and then you can kind of just go from there, right? So definitely leave that off right there. And then upscaling, I got the AMD FSR 3.0 on. I'm currently testing a whole bunch of them. That's why this one right here is on. Fidelity FX is really good as well if you guys want to throw that on. Now, I can't put on like Intel or anything. Like, I probably could turn it on, probably wouldn't do much, but I don't have an Intel processor or an Intel GPU. So for me, I'm gonna run everything AMD just because it works better with me. And then the VRAM scale target, I'm gonna set to 90. All right, so we're gonna leave that right there. Now, texture resolution, this right here, I don't know, again, I don't know if it's on console, but I know on PC, if you're getting really bad frame rate, if you're trying to record like I am right now, but it's not letting you because it's really bad, your files keep corrupting and stuff, lower this, lower the render resolution, the texture resolution, put this down to like lower, very low, and it's going to use a lot less of your VRAM, all right? So go ahead, I leave it at normal. I could even put it to high and it's not even going to go close to my target, but I'll leave it at normal just because I'm recording. I don't want to risk ruining anything, right? Losing my file or my video getting corrupted and stuff. It's just so annoying if you have to re-record everything. And then we got texture, filter, anisotropic. We're going to leave this on normal as well. This is the quality of surfaces when they're kind of like out of focus and at an angle and stuff like that. I would just leave it at normal. You can put a high if you want, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really change much in game, I'll be honest with you guys. And it's not going to change your VRAM usage either, so just leave it at normal. It is what it is. Depth of field, I put this on, okay? This is going to help with accuracy, believe it or not. When you have this set to off, everything when you ADS is not blurred out. So your eyes are kind of focusing on everything. But when you actually turn this on, everything around your weapon, around your sight, is blurred. So it actually your eyes just focus on the target, and it's just, for some reason, it's just really nice to have on. A lot of people don't realize that. Make sure you have your depth of field on, guys, all right? It's actually something that's really important. Detail quality level, again, this is for like plants and rocks and all that kind of stuff. You could have it low, you could have it normal, you could have it high, it doesn't matter. I don't care for high because I'm not looking at flowers while shooting people, so I just put it to normal. It looks all right, it looks decent for me. Particle resolution, again, I just leave it at normal. No need to put this at the highest or anything. This one right here, again, it won't affect your VRAM very little if you put it to high, but if you leave it low or normal, it's the same, so that's why I leave it on normal. And then bullet impacts, this is basically when you're shooting your gun, if it's going to leave holes and stuff on whatever surface you're shooting at. I just leave it on, it looks good. Why would you turn it off, right? And there's no difference if you leave it on or off. It just looks better if it's on. Persistent effects. Again, I'm gonna leave this one on as well. This one, if you do have it off and you turn it on, it's gonna require you to restart your console or your PC or whatever. Now it draws, I'll read it right here. It draws visual effects when explosions and deflagrations are used in your surfaces. Ask me what deflagrations is, I can't tell you. If you guys could tell me, I would appreciate that. Shader quality, again, this just looks nice. This is like the reflection and stuff like that and the shadows and all that kind of stuff. Shader quality makes the game look beautiful, so I put it to high. I don't feel like putting it to low, and honestly, it doesn't change anything. So set it to high as well. I would recommend that. On-demand texture streaming. This is important. I'm gonna allocate 64, and I'm pretty sure it's gigs for this right here, and then my download limits, I have it set to on, and again, it's 64 gigs. So I'll download 64 gigs worth of texture streaming and all that kind of stuff. It makes it easier on the game and stuff. It's just, overall, it's better to use this. Unless you have really bad internet, then I wouldn't recommend using this, but if you have decent internet, and you're getting like really good upload and download speed and all that kind of stuff, go ahead and turn this on. Don't see why not. Local texture streaming quality, again, normal. Now shadow quality, you could set this a lot lower if you're having issues with FPS and stuff. I just love the looks of the shadows in this game, okay? And I don't like it when shadows are broken. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I like my shadows to be crisp, clear, and all that kind of stuff. It's personal preference again. If you don't care about that and you want more frames per second, set it to very low. I'm gonna keep mine on ultra. I just like it the way it is. Screen space, shadows. Again, this is pretty much your guns look better detail when it's on high, right? If you put it to low, your guns look like they're more like Black Ops 2 guns. But if you put it to high, they just look a little more detailed, a little nicer with the shadows and all that kind of stuff. Ambient occlusion, we're gonna leave it to both. Screen space reflections, again, I set it to high. This is pretty much, as you can see in the picture on top of my head here, it looks better on high. The reflection of light and stuff in the water just looks a lot nicer. So basically that's why I have that set to high. It just looks a lot nicer. All right, my bad, I left there. Static reflection quality, again, I'm gonna set it to high because all that kind of stuff doesn't make a huge difference, but it does make the game look slightly nicer. You're not gonna notice it in gameplay unless you actually focus on it, but it just makes it look nicer. Now tessellation, again, we're gonna leave it to near. You don't need to set it to all. That's gonna be everything that's not even near you and stuff. You're barely gonna notice that. I would just set it to near. It's good there. Volumetric quality, we're gonna set to medium. This is one that I'm gonna tell you guys is kind of important. Okay, if you set this to high, and let's say Favela, for example, has a lot of fog to it, the light, the sunlight, the glare, everything is really strong, it's gonna blind you a lot. The lower you put this, the worse the game looks, but the easier it is to spot enemies. Like, have you ever played this game, especially on Rebirth Island, for example, or anywhere else, and you're looking in a certain direction, but the sun is beaming in your eyes, and you can't see the enemy because the sun's blinding you? Set this a little bit lower. It's not going to make it perfect. It won't be perfect, but it will definitely be a lot better. Now, the deferred physics quality, again, I'm going to set this high. This is mostly for water and all that kind of stuff. And then the weather grid volume high, and then water quality we're going to set to all rather than off, or wave wetness or water caustics. So we're just going to set it to all. That's good right there. Now let's get into view. Field of view. I set it to 100. Now a lot of people tell me, why do you play so low? I just, for some reason, okay, I used to play 120. But those long shots are really hard to hit at 120. You set it to 100, and those long shots just become a lot easier to track. They become a lot easier and stuff like that. And honestly, you are going to lose some of your screen. Like, if you look right up here, pretty much, and you see in between 100 and 120, I won't be able to see that part in the game or anything like that. But it's not much of a big deal. I find, like, it is a big deal, but I prefer my accuracy to be perfect rather than playing at 120. And yeah, sure, you'll feel like you're running faster and stuff at 120, then you can do crazier stuff at 120. I just, honestly, 100 works for me. I feel like I hit my shots nicer, and it's just a lot easier in terms of all that kind of stuff. Now, ADS field of view, we're going to set that to independent. We're not going to set it to affected, so we'll leave it at that as well. And then weapon field of view, we're going to set to default. I mean, you could put it to wide. It doesn't look bad. You can put it to narrow. Narrow doesn't look good. But honestly, I just leave it at default. I want my guns to look the way they were intended to look, so you can leave it at that as well. Third person field of view, I don't play third person, so I'm not going to mess with that. And then vehicle field of view, I don't really drive vehicles, so again, I'm not going to mess with that. I would put it to wide though. If you guys are playing like a lot of Warzone, I just kicked my camera stand. My bad. And then pretty much just work from there. Now, world motion blur, this is going to be off. Never turn this on. It's so ugly. And weapon motion blur, you're going to leave this off as well, okay? Because if you have world motion blur on and you're moving really fast and there's a window, that window is going to kind of blur into itself. And if there's an enemy standing in there, it's going to kind of like block them a little bit. You can still shoot through it. It's just the blur, but it's really ugly. So honestly, don't turn it on. And then weapon motion blur, once you ADS, if you're moving fast and you're trying to shoot your weapon and stuff, it's just going to feel really off as well. So I definitely wouldn't do that. Film grain, we're going to put down to 0 because it's ugly as heck. First person camera movement and third and all that, we're going to set it to the least, guys, okay? I wish you could go lower than 50. I really wish you could. But if you put this higher, your camera, as you're running and stuff, it's going to shake a lot more. And as you're doing movements, it's going to shake a lot more and stuff like that. So put it to the lowest, and it's just going to be easier for you when you get into gunfights and stuff. Now, third person ADS transition, we go to third person ADS. You could definitely play third person, and then every time you ADS, you go into first person. You could do that. I don't play third person, so I don't really mess with those. Spectator camera, game perspective, or helmet camera. Well, I definitely want game perspective first, but sometimes it goes straight to the helmet cam. I don't know why. And then inverted flashbangs, it's pretty cool. If you don't want to be blinded like crazy, you could turn that on. I don't care about the whiteness though, so I leave it off right there. And now, we're going to controller settings. I find controller settings are important as well. So basically in the controller settings, we got a whole bunch of stuff here. I would flip. If you're playing on a PlayStation controller, I'm playing on a PlayStation controller, I would definitely flip this, okay? Instead of shooting with L1 and R1, shoot with L2 and R1 or R2. Let's restart. Instead of shooting with L2 and R2, shoot with L1 and R1. And for some reason, it clicks a little faster. It's microseconds, milliseconds. It's just quicker. It's just quicker to actually do. I don't know why I said microseconds. I just messed up so crazy on this one right here. But anyways, yeah, stick layout preset, default controller vibration off, guys. You want to have this off, okay? If it vibrates, your thumb's moving, your joystick's moving, you're missing some shots, all right? Turn it off. It's just going to feel a lot better. Trigger effect. If you're playing with L2 and R2, turn this off on a PlayStation controller. It takes longer to shoot it when there's haptics and stuff, so definitely go ahead and do that. And then dead zones right here, I got my left stick minimum at 5 rather than 0. I would normally play at 0, but recently my stick drift got really bad, so I had to put it up to 5. I would recommend putting it to 0. Left stick max 40, and that's pretty good right there. And then right stick minimum 5, and if you have stick drift, you can put it even higher if 5 is still moving and stuff. And then right stick max 100, so that's going to be pretty good for that right there. And that's it for the controller. Now let's get into aiming, and you guys will see it. Now I recently changed my sensitivity back a little higher, so I played 11 and 10 for a while, then I dropped it down to 5. Now I'm back at 9. Okay, I'm trying to find something that's comfortable. I'm still not comfortable at 9 and 9, but you guys got to find whatever one you're most comfortable at. You got to kind of find there. And I did change all my ADS sensitivity multipliers as well. We're going to get into that in a minute, all right? So this right here, again, we're just going to leave everything at 1 for the sensitivity multiplier. The vertical aim axis, we're going to leave everything on standard as well. There's no need to change that. This we're going to leave on 80. Is the default 80? No, the default is 100, or 1.0 I should say. So tactical stance, oh yes, my tactical stance sensitivity. Basically, when I'm in tac stance, I don't want to be going crazy fast or anything like that. I want to kind of lock on the target, so setting it lower than 1 is actually really nice. And then the aim response curve type, I have it to linear. You can set it to standard. I just like it here. And then ADS sense multiplier 1, ADS sensitivity transition timing instant. Don't put it to gradual and don't put it to after zoom. Leave it to instant. This is going to be really fast, all right? And then custom sensitivity per zoom, this is what I'm talking about. Now, I only changed these two recently, or maybe like last week, I'd say. I had these lower and lower and lower. The higher I went in zoom, the lower I went on these right here. And then I realized my quick scoping was bad. My drag scoping was bad. So don't do that, guys. Don't do that. Set them all to 1, and you're going to be all right. Unless you don't care about that and you just want to hard scope and stuff, then I would recommend lowering these. But for the most part, don't worry about that, man. So my ADS sensitivity multiplier for 2 to 3 times zoom is set to 80, and this is because when I'm playing Warzone or something and I'm using a gun that has a bit of a multiplier, I should say, I want to track the target, I want to stay on target and stuff like that. And then this one right here for low zoom, I want it set to 0.90. I'm pretty sure iron sights are involved here, and then there's stuff like the red dot sight or whatever you want to call it. All those type of sights. 0.90 is good, and you'll stay on target. Target aim assist we're gonna have on, and we're gonna set it to Black Ops, okay? Set it to Black Ops for sure. If you're sniping, that's where I would recommend putting it to precision, but Black Ops is really good when you're running and gunning and all that kind of stuff. I went back to this, all right? So I switched up for a while as well. I always go back to Black Ops. I just feel like it's the best. And then we got the assist here, motion sensor behavior off, and this one right here, we're gonna leave pretty much the way it is. We're not gonna go into this, we're not gonna touch that. Now gameplay, all right? Automatic sprint, I used to have this on. But every time I would use like dual wields or anything like that, or pistols or anything, and every time I tried to shoot while not ADSing, every time I tried to hip fire, I would just sprint, and it was so annoying. It was so annoying. So I turned it off, and it sucks, but I do miss it. But for my sanity, it's so much better to have that off. Sprint, tactical sprint behavior, we're gonna have to toggle. Auto move forward, again, we're gonna set that off. There's some points in the game where you just don't want to move. You want to be sitting in a corner. You don't want to move forward. Have this off for sure. Tactical sprint behavior, single tap sprint, grounded mantle. All right, we have this on. This is if you're running, you'll have to set it yourself. You'll have to actually activate the jump yourself. To mantle stuff, it's great. Automatic airborne mantle. If you get into gunfights and you like jump shotting, turn this off, because a lot of times I get into a gunfight and I would have this on and I would jump shot and my guy would mantle anything that's near him, and it was so annoying. So turn this off for sure, and you're not going to randomly mantle in the middle of a gunfight anymore. And then automatic grand mantle and hang, set this off as well. So the only one you want on is the grounded mantle. That is it. And then my slide dive behavior, I have tap to slide. You can still dive. You can still do it. You can still just hold it and you'll dive. You'll be good. And then plunging underwater, we got to trigger it rather than let it be free. And then parachute automatic behavior, I set it off. I just don't like when the parachute pulls itself. I like to pull it when I want to pull it. So definitely have that off. Sprinting door bash. All right, this is good to have on. So if you're getting away from people, there's a door that's closed, you don't have to sit there and hold square to open it or hold A to open it or whatever it is. You just want to get the heck out of there fast. So definitely have that on. Ledge climb behavior, mantle only. So it's pretty good to have it to that. You'll just mantle automatically right away quick and stuff. And then ADS hold. I don't know why people put this to toggle. That would be like you have to press it, your ADS. Now you're stuck in ADS until you press it again. I just hold, honestly. Change zoom activation. So sprint, tactical sprint, focus, blah, blah, blah. We're going to leave it at that. Honestly, I'm not sure. You don't want to put it to melee. That's basically it. And then everything else like equipment behavior, hold, weapon mount activation, ADS, and melee. This is a personal preference. If you're near an object and you just want to mount it right away every single time, set it to ADS or double tap ADS. Now, I currently can't set it to double tap ADS because my double tap is for tac stance, so I have it to ADS melee. It's good. It's all right. Weapon mount exit instant. All right, you don't want to delay. The second you move, you want to be off that mount. All right, if you're getting shot at, it has to be instant. You don't want anything else but that. Tactical stance, like I said, see, I have double tap ADS to get into tac stance, and then tactical stance behavior just once, so that this way, once I stop aiming down sights in tac stance, then next time I ADS, I'll be actually ADSing. I won't be stuck in tac stance or anything like that. So that's good as well. You can set it on respawn if you're doing tac stance challenges. That's all right, but I just honestly set it to once. And then the interact reload behavior, tap to reload. Armor plate behavior, apply all. ADS stick swap off, directional buttons for the backpack control, and then pretty much depleted ammo weapon switch I have on. So this is once you hit 0 ammo in your gun, 0 in reserve, it's gonna actually just switch your weapon right away. So you don't have to worry about reloading, you don't have to worry about anything like that. You're just gonna switch right away and you're good to go. Quick C4 detonation 1 by 1. Don't set it to grouped, because then if you have 2 C4s, you gotta throw them both before you could blow up the other one. If you have 1 by 1, you can throw one, pop it, throw one, pop it, do what you gotta do, all right? Manual fire behavior, press akimbo behavior paired. This is actually nice. So you could set it to independent as well. Independent, if you're holding akimbo, if you press L1, you're gonna shoot this one. If you press R1, you're gonna shoot this one. But if you have it to paired, you just press L1 and it shoots both at the exact same time. So I like that, because I found that when I was playing with pistols, and every time I would try to actually shoot them, even if I felt like I was pressing them at the same time, one came out before the other, and I would lose some gunfights because of that, because that last bullet couldn't hit by the time he killed me. But once you actually have it paired, you just have to press once, and if your trigger finger's fast enough, you'll drop them really, really quick. They're both gonna shoot at the same time. Then we got vehicle, camera, recenter, short delay, camera, initial position, free look, lean out, activation, melee, and then all this stuff right here, which I don't really mess with these. I think this is all what it was. I think this is all the default settings, but it is what it is. Now let's get into, like I said, we're going to go to audio, we're going to go to interface as well. Interface is important. Now subtitles, y'all can set this whatever you want. I don't care about subtitles, so we're just going to get out of that right there. Color customization is an important one, okay? So if you have issues seeing a certain color, and let's say you don't want the enemies to be red, you could go ahead and change this to literally whatever color you want. If you want the enemies to be blue, you can make them blue. You want the enemies to be like an orangey yellow, you could go ahead and do that. You want the enemies to be pink or purple, you could go ahead and do that right here. Or you could go into custom color and kind of just play around with it yourself. So you could go like here and just kind of like figure out the exact hex number, which you could write as well. So if you know the hex number and the code like that, let's say you're on Photoshop and you want to know what the color is for like an off black, go ahead and get the hex number and then go ahead and put it in here, and you'll be good to go. So basically that's it for that right there. Now color filter, I have it set to none. You could set it to whatever you guys want as well. I just have it set to none. I don't mess with this. I know a lot of people do mess with it, so for those of you guys who wanted to know where to go for this, there it is. Now my HUD bounds, this is important, okay? If you want your HUD to be a little smaller, your heads up display pretty much, you can set it like this, and that way that little left corner all the way up there is actually going to be where your minimap is. Your minimap's not going to be where that back button is or where the MW3 logo is. It's going to be lower. It's going to be within this square here instead. Personally, I don't like that. I rather my HUD or my heads up display be as far away as possible so that I can focus just on my weapons and stuff like that. Minimap shape, you want to set it to square, all right? Don't set it round. Round, you can't see everything. Square, you can see so much more than you could if you had it on round. So definitely set it to square. Minimap rotation, you're going to want this on. You're not going to want it locked or anything like that. Every time you move, you want to move, and you want your character to be looking like kind of in the same direction and stuff like that. The horizontal compass, honestly, I might just turn it off. I don't look at it. It's a waste. It blocks part of my screen for no reason. I might just turn it off, let's be honest. And then crosshairs, you want this on static, okay? Don't set it to on, set it to static. That's that little crosshair in the middle of your screen that you use for aiming. If you have it on, as you're running, it's going to be bouncing around your screen like this. So when you ADS, it might be here, but you have to actually ADS here to be on target. So don't do that if you have it on static. Even if you're running, no matter how fast you're running, it stays in the exact same spot. So if you are sprinting like crazy, at least you know that wherever that is, the second you ADS, you're going to hit that spot. So definitely set that to static. Hit marker visuals on, damage based hit markers on. And then pretty much you guys, I'll let you just go kind of through this, kind of just look at it and kind of got to take what you got to take, right? I don't personally go ahead and change many of these things here in the interface, but there was those few things that I wanted to show you, like the crosshairs and then the mini map and all that kind of stuff. That's very important that a lot of people just don't really know where to go look for it. It's in the interface, all right, guys? Now, the last thing is the audio. The last thing, really important as well here, audio mix. I have it set to headphone bass boost, and I find this is the best for footsteps, okay? Because if you want to hear footsteps in this game, we already know it's pretty broken. Having it set to that is the best, in my opinion. So I have it set to that. If you're not using headphones, put a soundbar. If you're using a soundbar, put home theater if you're using a home theater, or speakers if you're just using speakers. But if you have a headset, even like the cheapest ones, this should work a little bit, okay? As long as you have like surround sound in your headset, where if someone's on the left, you hear it on the left, and if someone's on the right, you hear it on the right, that's going to be good to set to this, all right? If you don't have that, just set it to like speaker, set it to like soundbar. I don't know what to tell you, but anyways, default system device, you can choose whatever you want it to come out of. Honestly, I just have it set to the default because sometimes I'll switch my audio device and I just want this to go with it pretty much. And then speaker output stereo, speaker output and test if you guys want to test it. Master game volume, you want this at 100, okay? Game music volume, you want at 30. This is when you spawn in, the end of the game, all that kind of stuff, and the music starts to get louder, starts to get more intense. You don't want that to overpower footsteps and gunfire. You want to hear those more than this. Set this to 30. Dialogue volume 70. This is the in-game characters talking to each other when they do little call-outs and stuff. Not you and your buddies actually talking on mic. This is the actual characters in game. 70, because you do want to hear them, but you don't want them to be overpowering as well. And then effects volumes, this is great because this is footsteps. This is grenades exploding and stuns going off in the distance. It's firing your gun, enemies firing their guns. You want this set at 100 because that's what you want to hear the most. And then cinematic music volume 100, war tracks 100 as well. I don't really mess with these right here, but the cinematic is actually nice to have. This one I actually think might be the end of the game as well, but it is what it is. Voice chat I set to 50 because some people be having super loud mics. Some people breathe. You'll be playing and all you hear is and you're like, yo, who the heck is that? And then you gotta go mute someone and stuff. Just set this to 50. You don't want to hear it super loud. Voice chat, you want to have this on because you want to talk to people, of course. Game voice channel, you want it on all lobby, party only, friends only. If you don't want to hear the whole lobby, you don't have to. It's really nice to have this set to all lobby. And then you can just go and mute people if you have to. Last words, it's funny to hear people after you kill them. Put that on as well. Proximity chat, yeah, turn this on when you're playing Warzone and stuff. And then voice chat output device, again, default. Now microphone mode, I have set to push to talk right now. I normally have it just set to open mic, but right now I have it set to push to talk because I'm recording a video. If someone joins, I don't want them to hear me. It's a little awkward, so it is what it is. And then again, default and pretty much all that kind of stuff right there. Subtitles we don't care about, but yeah, it's gonna be it for the settings. Hopefully this was an in-depth one where you guys can understand a little more about the settings in the game and stuff like that. If you guys did enjoy this video, if I helped out at all, make sure to drop a like on this. I would truly appreciate that. Sub to the channel with those notifications turned on, and let me know down in the comments below, guys, if you made it this far into the video. Just write I made it down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. My name is Nick, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.